What is going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Guys, this is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from Marvel, DC, and even IDW as well. Now guys, today we are going to continue our coverage over the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And today guys, we are going to pick up with Ultimate Comics Ultimate X. Now, this storyline right here was a 5-chapter mini series. I think originally it was supposed to be an ongoing title, but of course there were a lot of delays, so they said, hey, you know what? Just make it a mini series and call it a day. But this here, guys, is going to give us the newly formed X-Men team. And guys, we do get some old characters, but also new characters as well. And so I do hope you enjoy today's video, but please leave me a like down below. But here we go. Now, picking up with Ultimate X first chapter, we are introduced to a new character we have not seen before, a young teenage boy who's about to get into a street race in the middle of the night. And you have someone kind of narrating in the background about how there was a man that other men hated, but the women loved him and couldn't keep their hands off of him. Then the person who is narrating proceeds to tell us that he and the man who was hated on fought in the Iraq War together, but tell us a couple years later, the man who was hated on reappeared on the man who was narrating's front door with the baby. And while this man who is narrating is telling us about the man who was hated on life story, we see the teenage boy begin his street race, but at the end of the street race, he crashes his car. And the way his car crashed, this teenager should be dead. Except when the rest of the people who were at the street race come to check up on this teenager, well, they see him walking out of the car, bloody and most body parts broken. And that is when we see this young man heal up from his wounds, telling us that this teenager has a healing factor. His name is Jimmy Hudson, the son of Wolverine. Wolverine was the man who was hated on, who reappeared years later after the Iraq War with his son, Jimmy. This is where the police arrive and everyone leaves, mainly because of the police, but also because Jimmy Hudson is a mutant. People hate mutants, but we learned that the sheriff of this police force is James Hudson. Now, in the main Marvel universe, James Hudson is the Vindicator, but in this universe, he was not. It was John Rath, but the question always popped up, where was he? Because in the main Marvel universe, he has close ties with Wolverine. And we learn he was off taking care of the son of Wolverine. We also learn that he is married to Heather like he is in the main Marvel universe, but he takes Jimmy home and tells his wife Heather that Jimmy knows about his powers now. Now, the story does jump forward to the next day, and we pick up with Kitty Pryde meeting up with Jimmy Hudson. And this is picking up after Ultimatum, but her being here is coming out of Ultimatum number 4, where Wolverine handed her a box because he knew that he was not coming back after fighting against Magneto. He gave her a mission to give this box to his son Jimmy, because he has the right to know that he is the son of Wolverine. At first, he is wondering what all of these different things in the box are supposed to mean, but then you have Kitty Pryde play him a message from Wolverine that tells Jimmy that he is the son of Wolverine. Now, Wolverine does not tell Jimmy who his mother is, but tells him that he has the right to know that he is the son of Wolverine, and basically that is it. This leads to Jimmy asking Kitty Pryde how long did she know about this, and she tells him that she only found out before Wolverine died in Ultimatum number 5. Then she asks if he has powers like his father, which we know that he has a healing factor, but then we see him pop out claws like Wolverine. Except here's the big thing about Jimmy though, because at first he has bone claws, because remember, Wolverine claws were bone claws, but then were covered by adamantium metal. But we then see that Jimmy claws out of nowhere get covered in the same kind of metal, like some kind of secondary mutant ability. It's so weird. Now to close this chapter, a couple of things happen. When we see James and Heather Hudson appear, and James takes Jimmy outside to talk for a little bit, where you do have Kitty Pryde get yelled at by Heather for telling Jimmy the truth, but she knows that Jimmy has the right to know. But then you have James talking to Jimmy about how there's a new law that came out of Ultimatum, that being a mutant is illegal, and he is supposed to turn any mutants in or kill them on sight. Except he tells Jimmy to leave, but be safe. Now, the second chapter picks up with a young woman, and her name is Karen Grant. And at first, you would think that she's a new character, except after a while, you realize who she is when she starts to use her own powers. That this is Jean Grey, and she was one of the few X-Men who did not die in Ultimatum. And since now being a mutant is illegal, she has to go by a new name. And since she was a well-known public figure, and she is trying to stay alive in Baltimore, but also the fact that she is still haunted by the deaths of Cyclops and anyone else who died in Ultimatum. But we see her go to the mall where she works to at least make some kind of money, where we also meet a guy named Dave. Not an important character really, just a guy who kind of fell in love with Jean Grey, even though she has never shown any interest. Well, maybe a little. Honestly, I feel bad about what happens to Dave in this book, to be honest. But when Jean Grey gets inside the mall to go to work, that is when she is greeted by her co-workers for a celebration for being the employee of the month. Except she gets upset when she sees a photo of her. And the reason why is because Dave took that photo and had put it on Facebook. And she's trying to keep a low profile because someone could figure it out it is her and be killed, since it is illegal to be a mutant now. And so she leaves and goes somewhere else in the mall. That is when she is greeted by who she thinks is Rogue, where Jean Grey is excited because she thinks it is her long-term friend Rogue, that she has not seen in a long time. Except she comes to find out it is not Rogue, but instead it is Mystique pretending to be Rogue. Remember, Mystique escaped at the very last second in Ultimatum, but now she is here to talk to Jean Grey in private, and if Jean does not agree, she will let Sabretooth kill innocent people. This is why I said I feel bad for Dave earlier in the video, because you have Dave see Mystique and Sabretooth escorting Jean Grey outside, and he knows something is up, and so he goes outside to see what is up, and actually tries to stand up to Sabretooth, which is the worst thing you can do. And so you have him walk up on Sabretooth, and well, Sabretooth actually cuts this man across the body, and of course kills Dave off. But this leads to Jean Grey getting upset and beating down on Sabretooth, and well, the bad guy leaves for the day to regroup. But to wrap up this chapter, you have Karen Grant, or Jean Grey, whatever name feels right to you, go home, where she is greeted by her landlord telling her she had a visitor and she had no idea who it was. Except later on that night, we see her go into the kitchen to get ready to go to bed, except she senses someone coming and comes to find out it is Jimmy Hudson, the son of Wolverine. And chapter 2 ends there. And so the story does switch over to Chicago, where we pick up with a young lady running away from a random thug. And as she is running away from this thug and calling out for help, we see someone is watching over her. And right when she's about to get grabbed from this thug, that is when we see the thug gets taken away in the sky. The police arrive and find the lady and ask her where is the thug, and that is when one of the cops look up in the sky and see a man with wings. No, this is not Angel, but it is someone who is kind of taking the place of Angel. And this new Angel person name is Derek Morgan, and he will get a cool code name later on. But we see him take this thug to a nearby rooftop to kind of talk to the thug to figure out why he was trying to hurt that random lady. But then one of the two cops from earlier appear on the roof to shoot Derek Morgan because she thinks of him as a mutant, and that is illegal. Except you have Derek use his wing to knock her out. except when he does knock her out, the gun goes off and her partner thinks she is hurt. And so he runs up there to only see his partner on the ground and the thug all tied up, but Derek is gone. But the story does shift over to the male officer home where he greets his pregnant wife. But we learn this officer is the brother of Derek and his name is Joseph. But we also learn that after their parents died, Derek had to move in with his brother, except his brother has no idea that he is a mutant. And so anytime he goes out at night to be this guardian of the night, before he is able to come back home, he has to absorb his wings and fangs back into his body so he can keep his secret from his brother. But him doing this takes a lot of energy out of him. And this leads to us finding out that Derek and Joseph are not on good terms at the moment because Joseph wants Derek to do something with his life, since Derek does bring home random money. And Joseph thinks that his brother is up in some kind of illegal business. And so right now we see that these two are having some brotherly issues, but this is the life of Derek Morgan. This leads us over to Jean Grey and Jimmy on a train that is heading towards Chicago. And this is us learning that they are going to work together on some kind of mission, because Jean Grey realized that the way the world is now, mutants are going to be hunted no matter what. And so right now they're heading towards Chicago to recruit Derek Morgan to the team. Now we jump back over to Derek Morgan and we pick up with him talking to his sister-in-law about what he is doing at night, which is being a superhero for the city of Chicago. But she thinks something is going on because his clothes are all torn up, and she kind of hints that Derek needs to tell his brother that something is up and he needs to tell him now. This leads to Derek actually going to see his brother, where we see that his brother is out there right now with a group of police officers actually looking for him. The police are tired of Derek going around at night as this vigilante, and so their goal is to stop Derek tonight. Except we see that Derek's plan is to grab his brother and take him to the sky to show him that he is the vigilante, but also to show that he is a mutant. And this is where things go wrong for Derek. He was hoping that his brother would be down to help him, except his brother Joseph follows the law. And since it is illegal to be a mutant, you have Derek's brother actually shoot him and they both fall out of the sky. This is where we see that Jean Grey and Jimmy are there in Chicago, where they see both the brothers fall into the river, and Jimmy jumps into the river to go save Derek, and of course he does. But for Derek's brother Joseph, you have Jean Grey use her powers to read his mind to see if he is going to be a threat down the road if Derek does join this new X-Men team. This is where we see Jean Grey explain to Derek that basically she has the power to wipe Joseph's mind, where she tells Derek that Joseph's plan was to hand Derek over to S.H.I.E.L.D. His own brother, Derek, knows that Joseph will not stop until his brother is arrested, and so Derek asks Jean Grey to wipe his mind and he joined this new X-Men team. Now, chapter 4 of this story tells us what happened to Liz Allen. And remember, in this universe, she is Firestar, means that she is a mutant, but also the fact that she is the daughter of the mutant known as the Blob. But we learn in these first few pages of this chapter that Blob had 2 kids, the first being Liz Allen and the second one being Teddy Allen. As you can see, Teddy Allen is just like his father, where his powers are based around the Blob power set, high level of durability, and also making him unmovable. This is where the story starts to dive into more about Teddy, where we learn that Teddy used to be a great student in school. He was one of the best, except everything changed when he met his friend Evan McBride. Lately, Evan has been getting Teddy into a lot of trouble, but also these two are just like the 2 kids that everyone picks on nonstop, and they try to do things to get popular sometimes. And right now they are trying to see how much Teddy can eat in a single meal, but leads into a burger being thrown at Liz Allen because she told her brother how nasty he's being, except it misses her and lands on the principal, and Evan and Teddy are sent to the office. Now, getting back to learning more about Teddy, we learned that the Blob apparently had a lot of money, and when he died, he left the money to Liz and her mother so they can have a good life. Except it came with one clause, which is they have to adopt Blob's second child, Teddy, who at the time was living as an orphan. And so they took him in, but they don't treat him like he is family, and he feels like they just took him in so they could get the money, which is true. Plus, it does not help that his friend Evan is always in his ear, whispering things about how everyone hates him and stuff. Now, picking up with the new X-Men team, we see them hiding in motels now, but we learn that they are waiting for something, and that is really it. And to Jean Grey, they are not trying to build a new X-Men team here. It is going to be something else. The big question is, what is it going to be? Now, jumping into the next day, we pick back up at the school where we see that it is supposed to be another day at the school. But like every other day, Teddy and Evan get picked on by one of the jocks of the school, except it leads into Evan showing he has a gun on him. And with the gun being pulled out, everyone is freaking out and trying to tell Evan to put the gun down, which of course leads into the principal walking in and asking Evan to put the gun down, except he ends up getting shot. And so there goes the principal. This of course ends up all over the news, where you have Liz Allen's mom seeing the news, and you have the newly formed X-Men team seeing it as well. And so it leads to them leaving their motel to go find Liz Allen. Now this is where Teddy tries to stop Evan from shooting anyone else and put the gun down, where of course you have Evan trying to tell Teddy how they should use the gun on more people who made fun of them. Except Teddy says no. Evan gets upset and shoots Teddy right in the chest. And this is where Teddy and Liz discover Teddy's powers, which is just like the Blob. The bullet just bounces off of him and shows that he has powers. And this leads to Evan freaking out because now he knows that his best friend is a mutant and the whole world hates mutants. And so you know this is kind of like your typical mutant story, except you have Liz Allen show that she is also a mutant, which again, she is Firestar, but she shows that she has powers, and then Evan thinks that he can use the gun to stop Firestar and Teddy, which of course she uses her powers to stop the gun. Now with her flames kind of being all over the place, the school blows up, and this leads to everyone thinking that everyone is dead. But of course we see that Liz Allen and Teddy Allen are okay, and they are greeted by Jean Grey, Derek Morgan, and Jimmy, where of course they are telling Liz and Teddy to join them to get away, but Liz Allen knows the X-Men. She was there when Ultimatum was happening at the Xavier school, and so she's like, why should I join you guys again? And Jean said she would use her powers to force her to join. Except that is when we see Quicksilver, and remember, we learned a while back that he did not die in Ultimates 3, that he was also the mastermind behind Ultimatum, which is the story we just covered. Now Liz Allen does join the new X-Men team because S.H.I.E.L.D. has arrived and they're going to do some horrible things to the X-Men. But this chapter ends with Teddy joining Quicksilver since he was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, the beginning of the last chapter is where we see Jimmy is trying to buy some beer, but he is not allowed to, and so he does get kicked out of the store. But when he is leaving the store, he is greeted by a man who he thought was going to help him with getting the beer, only to find out that it is Sabretooth who is here to kill Jimmy. Because remember that Sabretooth used to hate Wolverine with a passion, and so right now he is here to get rid of Jimmy for just being the son of Wolverine. And this leads to Jimmy almost being killed by Sabretooth, but he is saved at the very last second by Quicksilver. Now the new X-Men team do find Jimmy, and they begin the process of patching him up, and we learn that his healing factor is not as strong as his father Wolverine, and so right now it looks really bad for him. Now Derek wants to go after Sabretooth on his own, and Liz Allen wants to leave the team again, except you have Jean Grey tell them that she needs to get something better than them. This is where we learn that Jean Grey's plan is to recruit the Hulk. She found Bruce Banner, who is again in hiding, where he tells Jean that he is happy the world is focusing on mutants right now and not him, because he can finally live a somewhat normal life. But Jean Grey makes an offer for him, and the offer is she can help show the world that the Hulk is not a bad person. She can control the Hulk and make sure the Hulk does not go out of control. This leads to us seeing Sabretooth at the bar, randomly chilling there, and kind of bummed out that he could not finish off Jimmy, except that is when someone comes and says that he is in their chair. And Sabretooth thinks it is someone that he can take on, but to come to find out it is the Hulk, and the Hulk throws Sabretooth across the bar and out the window, letting us know that the Hulk has joined this new X-Men team, and he begins the process of beating down on Sabretooth. Except he is saved by no other than Quicksilver once again, and so we know that Quicksilver is always watching his team no matter what, but you have Jean Grey use her powers to stop Quicksilver from running away. Of course, it is revealed that all the members of both teams are here. Now you would think that we would get a full-on battle between the two sides right here and right now. We don't. Instead, we have Quicksilver explain to us that he's trying to build an army to protect what few mutants are left in the world. That right now the world is hunting mutants more than ever now, and they need to work together. Except Jean Grey says no and lets Quicksilver and his team leave this time. This is where we pick up back at the hotel, and we see this new X-Men team checking up on Jimmy to see how his injuries are doing, where you have Jimmy wake up to seeing the Hulk in the room and confused, and they tell him the Hulk has joined the team, but now the team wants to know what the plan is, and this is where you have Jean Grey tell the big secret that she and Nick Fury has been working together this whole time. Where we learn the goal is that this team is not going to be the new X-Men. They are going to be a team that is going to save mutants who are captured, mutants who think they don't need to be saved, and also help mutants who don't want help. Also helping other people who are not mutants like Captain America. This is not going to be the new X-Men. Seems like they're going to use the name Tomorrow People for the time being, and that is the name of Ultimate X-Men Volume 1. So kind of interesting the name they took there, but hey, this is the new form team in Ultimate Comics. But to close on this storyline right here, we do pick up with Quicksilver, Sabretooth right now talking to each other, where you do have Sabretooth bring the fact up that right now, Jean Grey's team has a lot of power on their side, and so Sabretooth is worried. But that is when you have Quicksilver tell Sabretooth that he should not worry at all, because we come to find out that the Scarlet Witch is alive again. And she died in Ultimates 3, but apparently like her brother, she is alive as well. And this makes things a whole lot more interesting, but this is the end of Ultimate X. So guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here, and I will see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.